Good afternoon, everybody. Now that I'm finally up here, I have to admit I was right. This is a perfect selfie opportunity. So please don't move. It'll only take a few seconds. I have to make sure it got saved, you know? So. AVID will always be a part of who I am, and here's why. See, the problem with me was that for the longest time in my life, I didn't believe in myself. I felt like I wasn't good enough for much, and I honestly felt like I wasn't good enough for anything. During the first semester of my junior year, something happened that truly defined the person you see here today. The very first week of school, someone broke into my home and took many of our possessions. The weeks and the months that followed were among the worst of my life. I had trouble studying, I had trouble focusing, and I had trouble sleeping. For some reason, somehow, I just couldn't stop thinking about it. More than the electronics that my family owned and everything that my parents worked so hard for, what was also stolen in the process was my peace of mind. I ended the semester with my lowest GPA and, quite frankly, my lowest self-esteem. All the effort that I put into my schoolwork didn't mean anything anymore. I guess you could say I was in a hopeless position. Before second semester started, I did a lot of thinking and a lot of self-reflection, and I also thought about AVID. I thought about AVID quite a bit, actually, and I asked myself, how could I ever end up in college being in this situation? We all know AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination, and up until that point in my life, I always thought that only meant determination academically. I couldn't be more wrong. One night, I stumbled across the video from the movie Rocky Balboa. In this video, Rocky is speaking to his son, and some of the words that he said that I still remember until this day are, "Until you start believing in yourself, you're not going to have a life." When I finished watching the video, at that very moment, I felt like he was speaking to me. I felt like those words were meant for me. It was in that moment that I realized that I had two options. I can continue going downhill, or I can use my struggle as a reason to make things better. I wouldn't be here today had I chosen the first option. So what does AVID have to do with this? It has everything to do with it, because what AVID has taught me over the years is that just because I come from a lower income family, and just because I'm a first-generation American, that doesn't dictate my chances at being successful. What dictates my chances at being successful is my individual determination and my willingness to rise after every fall. As my wonderful AVID teacher, Shannon Hurtado, will tell me, Mrs. Hurtado, could you please stand for a moment? As my wonderful AVID teacher, Shannon Hurtado, would tell me in a quite emotional conversation at the end of that terrible first semester, it's not about how you begin, it's more about how you can finish. And Jesse, we both know that you can finish strong. She was more than right. My AVID teacher suddenly became more than someone I greet every morning in second period. She became a friend and a mentor, someone who gave me the hope and support I needed to show colleges and everyone else exactly what I was made of. And that's exactly what I did. Being an AVID, I learned that others were struggling as well, and that I wasn't the only one. I taught myself that if my peers could overcome their obstacles, then it was also possible for me to overcome my own. Through the support from my AVID family, I no longer felt hopeless. In fact, I felt the exact opposite. For many months, I dedicated myself to nothing but my schoolwork. I did every single assignment without delay. I studied rigorously for every single test and every quiz, even if it meant sacrificing my sleep. It was worth every minute of it. I found motivation where it never existed before, and I knew that if I truly wanted to become successful, the only person that could stand in my way was myself. I ended the semester with the highest GPA I achieved until that point. Thank you. On January 7th, 2014, the time read 2:25 p.m. I just got into my car after getting off from work, and as I was about to leave, I got this urge to check my email. I opened an email I received from CSU Fullerton offering me admission. This was my first, thank you. That was my first college acceptance, and it felt amazing. I never felt so much anxiety, nervousness, happiness, and relief than in this one moment. I felt like time froze and realized that everything, every single test, assignment, and every struggle that I've gone through paid off in this single unparalleled instance. I'm happy to say that I'm the first person to go to college from my family, and because AVID showed me the pathway to becoming successful, I can pursue my dreams and change the world I live in. I now believe in myself, and I know that I'm capable of much more than I can possibly imagine. And if it weren't for AVID, I wouldn't stand where I stand today. Trust me when I tell you, until you start believing in yourself, you are not going to have a life. Thank you very much, everybody.